Dr. Cohen, been at the Heritage Foundation and also the international program there. Now I launched my own company called Market and Weird oil and gas and natural resources, business development, and public affairs. And this is an exciting business is an exciting because working in Asia and Eurasia, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, but also in the Eastern Mediterranean and Africa. And through business, I think we can get people up and work, health, as opposed to already with a topic that I published an article in the Forbes magazine and and that is of at least a change. The borders as we know them today were not there. Borders first drawn by British and imperial diplomats in 1916. And when the finishing the German and the Ottoman arrangements in Europe and in the for long arrangement held, but we know that in example yet Ottoman Empire, the north or in the middle or in the south. So the United States, unfortunately, and some of U.S. allies in the Gulf and the of the South played the Islamic State and the force that even Al-Qaeda disowned them in Nusra that it is not very well, but the matter of fact is that having such an armed force that connects the Sunni population of Syria, it changes the border. For the something into analysis, especially for the countries. So how long is it going to be a real country? Question mark. The and in Russia and so crisis because the intervention of the United States was not very successful, and that wasn't able to things. Don't agree with the trillion. I saw a little bit lower, but no, it's over a trillion, a number. But see today, it's under the area I from is with you. I was born in. I missed my Ottoman citizenship. You step back, thought being Russia, lower level presence, Russia will be more friendly and feel less. Instead, Russia it will assume that United States, and boom, Russia, Georgia, and now in Ukraine, and you have Europe in the worst political crisis since of the Cold War, since 19. I always supporter of strong Turkish-Israeli ties. I love in Turkey many times, visit friends in Turkey, and besides made me. I am a big supporter of Israeli ties, always was, and remember there was bringing Turkey to it, not to do it. But today, there's an initiative by a friend, Ambassador Matthew Bryza, to bring from the Israeli field, Iranian, and then via Turkey benefit as an hub.
Yes.
It would benefit income, the fees to happen as long as the relationship is not improved. It's not improved because if the Mevi issue is not solved yet. Sides in my makes mistakes sides. Put it to the end, pay the family, and put it in the past, then move. And Israel as a hub of innovation, a high-tech Israel country with good security, and Turkey could work together on these issues, on many, also in terms of cooperation, because the forces are at play that are inimical, enemies of Turkey, like the state of extremists that are connected to Iran, Lebanese Hezbollah that is fighting in Syria. All these people are against education, they're against economic science, and lived in Israel, Israeli people very well. There is no feelings against the Turkish people. Israelis and Turks get along very well, and I think there's a huge potential both in terms of billions and in terms of science, tourism. So potential, a pity if politicians manage to derail. And also the rumors and bad language, some about the Jews and media, no base. Jews do not eat babies. Even Egyptians, for example, now the more secular understands that the peace treaty was signed in '79. It was President Anwar and is for Egypt, and the gas field to before, but buying that gas, the Leviathan, also so small, it's a hot threat. There's not a country have any on Turkey. It benefits, but also, by the way, please notice, in the last 5 years, there's a big change in the Middle East, and that states, including Saudi Arabia, are reaching out. There's much more going on in Israel. So, Turkey in the past was the only game in town, and Israelis had nowhere to go. They actually flipping. Not just alliance with Israel. I agree with you that the military intervention in the end in Afghanistan, in Iraq, was not done well. There is a combination of factors, and Europe education is one of them. A more open-minded interpretation of religion. We're living in the 21st century. The economy is global. Turkey is doing by integrating itself into the global economy. Other countries do not do as much to educate their population, to have to be more open-minded, be it whose partners are not. We are moving into more modern society that is more scientific and based on engineering. Our commonalities. Yeah. We need to recognize where we can together. In terms of security, of course, Turkey can with the Western European countries, and if necessary, with this. There are extremist currents in Christianity. There are extremist currents in Judaism. Yes. I was in a which is not far from Jerusalem, and all of a sudden I saw religious Jews and put all in like the burqa in Afghanistan. So what is there's some crazy rabbi who decided that they need to wrap their women in black, and this is done, but now they're doing it because they're looking at extremists don't even care about the pretty blue color that there are people in many regions, and I think common ground for progressive people, be it Turks, European Israelis, or that are Indians and Chinese, is that we need to work and we need to prevent conflict and resolve differences. There are always differences. The differences in business, the differences in economy, that's where people can understand each other. So I think the line in the 20th is no longer between or a Jew and a Hindu, between people who are living in an interdependent world that itself intention prevails. That with nuclear weapons, I was reading the other day about a specific bomb that calls the cobalt bomb, C-O-B-A-L-T, cobalt. It's a radioactive metal. That if you explode enough of those, create so much radiation, you can, God forbid. So we have this power, and it's our choice. We can use our power for good, or we can use our power for evil. Right. So the challenge to us from God is to use our power and our knowledge for good. And I have many friends who are Muslim, I have many friends who are Christian, I have many friends who are Jewish. That's not the point. The point is the people exercising their morality, their ethics, and a lot of sources of our morality and ethics comes from God, comes from religion. I'm not saying you have to exercise every, the 13 principles of Judaism or whatever, but you have to understand that the more good, the better world we're going to be living, and our children and our grandchildren, and that is the biggest challenge. But the problem is, when we're talking about the Middle East, I think when the conflict is so nasty and so many people get killed, the ones with the skills, be it doctors like yourself or scientists or engineers, leave. So who is left there? The desperate people are left there, and then desperate people create desperate situations. That's a tragedy in many places in the Middle East. Hopefully, Turkey will stay away from that and will continue its economic growth, its cultural prosperity, and also tourism, which is very important. But you also, at the same time, you don't want to be seen by some as a mouthpiece for the United States. You don't want to be seen as too close or manipulated. So it is important to maintain your independent voice, but at the same time, you're absolutely right. And add that there is a monopoly on interpretation of Islam. There's no monopoly. It's a thing in the Quran that nobody knows the truth, only Allah knows the ultimate truth. So to come and say, my version of my interpretation is better than yours, that's also haram, I think. At the same time, I think self-defense, this is where everybody agrees. If you recognize that somebody is about to shoot at you, and you shoot in self-defense, according to any law, and also most of religions, unless you're a Buddhist. Jain, there's a religion in India that they don't even step on a bug because they don't want to take a life. But self-defense is something that can legitimately be argued that if somebody's coming to put a bomb or shoot at you or whatever. I'll give you an example. There were 3 teenagers in Israel now kidnapped
Yes.
And can you imagine?
People, yeah.
Can you imagine how the mothers and the fathers, if God forbid somebody has their children? I have 2 children, God bless them. So if your children are being kidnapped, what the parents don't know if they're dead, if they're alive, where are they?
Innocent people,
innocent people, and this is a tragedy. Again, for 100 years, and this is a lot of people don't know. Repeated violence against innocent civilians, and also Turkey suffered from terrorism a lot, including from PKK and from other, and it's going on. So people need to understand, you know, your terrorist is not better than my terrorist. And we've seen from communists, the communists said that if you're from a different social class, or coming from, this is when they say you're from a different race, or coming from PKK, that you're Turk and not a Kurd. They are Marxist-Leninist. But ISIS or ISIL is in Syria. They send a lot of East Germans from communist Germany, East Germany, who worked in propaganda and education.